Do you have any old black and white family photos that you would love to see come to life with colour? Well, let me show you how to do that with Corel PaintShop Pro 9. Start off by bringing your photo into Corel PaintShop Pro 9 and make sure that you have got the Edit button selected. Then you need to select a new raster layer, and this is the layer that you're going to paint on top of. So you'll need to find something that looks a little bit like skin colour that matches the person. So you can find this in your palette on the right hand side. I've got one that I've been using for a while, and then you literally just paint on top. Now you might be looking at this saying, yeah, but that doesn't look like natural skin colour, it just looks like you've been painting on the top with a bit of a skin colour tone. You're absolutely right. But once you've created this overlay is when the magic happens. So bear with me. Okay, so we've got a bit of colour on there now. Now we go over to the layers and we select soft light, and suddenly we have our outer layer starting to turn more like skin colour. We paint over the top and you can see that you get the natural contours of the face appearing, and you get the natural shading that's created by the light in the room where the photo was taken. So as you paint more and more over the top of the picture, you start to see the skin colour start to come alive. We'll keep going and I'll come back in a little bit. This is a photo of my brother and I would have to say at this stage that the way that the skin colouring is looking, I do look a little bit unusual, a little bit like Herman Munster's child with a very whited out face. But as we start to put more colour around it, the colour of the face, the skin tone will start to look a little bit more natural. So now that we've started to get the skin tone starting to look right, we now need to think about the eyes. Now, as a youngster, I did have blue eyes, so we just do the same thing. We paint over the top with a blue colour, make sure that the size of the pen that you're using, the brush that you're using, fits into the iris there. Paint the iris, don't paint the pupil, and it starts to give a little bit of a colour underneath it all. Now, I don't worry about bleed. What I mean by that is I'm not worried that if a bit of white goes over the skin or a bit of blue goes over the white part of the eye, I can fix it up with the eraser tool, or I can just paint over the top of it a bit later on. But bleed over the top is good because it removes the grey lines from the black and white part of the photo. And if you leave those black and white lines there, then you can see the edges of the area that you painted over, and you don't want that. So a little bit of bleed, not too much of a problem at all. So that's the eyes done. Now to look at the mouth. Now you can just paint over the top of the mouth with the same colour that you've used to the skin, but lips normally are a little bit more pinky in colour, so I've gone for a slightly different shade to colour in the lips there, and I'll attempt to sort of bleed again into the natural skin tone, and hopefully it will create a nice blend as it sort of works its way into the skin tone there. I'll paint the gums because I've got a bit of a gummy smile there, and I'm actually going to paint the teeth white as well, so we'll fast forward through that. Now granted, the teeth do look a little bit strange there in close-up, but once you scroll back out a little bit, you'll see that the face is starting to take colour. It's really starting to look like the natural colour of a face. I've always had black hair, so I'm just going to paint the top with a bit of a grey colour more than a black colour to allow some of the light to come through. The reflection of the flash, I assume it was at the time when the photo was taken. My younger brother, on the other hand, he had a more blonde style hair, so I need to consider that when I'm thinking about his hair. So let's try a little bit of this colour and see what it comes up like. Now I decide that it doesn't quite match how I remember his hair when he was, I think that was probably taken when he was about 5 years of age. It might have even been a bit younger than that. So start again, and it is really quite simple to start again. You can either just paint over the top, or you could use the eraser and rub it off and trial another colour. You know what? I'm not sure that I even like this colour, so I might try another colour yet again. Come back once I have chosen a colour and I've got his hair done. Now I have to admit it does look a little bit like a bad Donald Trump wig, but as we start to add more colour to his face and then to his lips in the background and his eyes and the like, that what looks like a bit of a wig at the moment will start to look more and more natural. We'll come back when that's done. And there we have it. Legs and arms painted, starting to look much more natural. And I told you that Donald Trump wig is no longer looking much like a Donald Trump wig. So now we have to consider the colour of the clothing that we are wearing now. I'm very fortunate that, yes, I do have a black and white version of this photo, but I also have a colour version of the shirt that I'm wearing when I went and visited Santa around the same age. So I'm going to use that colour from that photo to build the colour of the clothing that both my brother and I are wearing. And we were very lucky. Our mum decided that we should wear identical clothes for this particular photo, so it's going to make it easier for me to get the colour coding right. Let's come back once we've painted some clothes. Now I could leave the background as it is, but I want to give it the full colour treatment, so I'm going to choose a bit of a green background as a different contrasting colour to paint up the back. So back again in a few moments. Just need to make sure that I get all of the background coloured into the green colour. And you would have noticed as I was going through that I'm getting really close to the skin. There's spots there where the green's gone over the skin. There's spots where the skin colour has gone over into the green space. But I'm not too worried about that, because once we zoom back out to the full frame of the photo, all of that will disappear. And as I said earlier, you want a bit of that bleed to be able to get rid of the grey colour from the black and white part of the photo. So there we have it, a black and white photo turned into colour using Corel PaintShop Pro 9. This was filmed using Corel Video Studio 9. As you can probably guess, I don't mind using Corel Video products. Corel Studio products, they're really quite easy to work with. So that's all for now. Get out there and start painting your photos.